Welcome back to Star Sports live and exclusive coverage of the KL5's. It's the second Cup semi-final between Brazil and Australia here at Stadium Negara in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It's going to be an amazing match, but first let's take a look at how Brazil got to the semi-finals. No problems over there. They finished on top of Group B, comprehensive 4 new victories over China, Iran and Thailand, and then they took it easy against Holland and run out 2-0 winners. And their opponents from Australia, well, perhaps one of the most surprise packages of this tournament, they finished runners-up. And look at that, comprehensive victories over Indonesia, Malaysia and England. But the last result was a reflection of how good Australia can actually be. A 3-3 draw against Argentina. They were this close to running up as group winners and avoiding Brazil, but they didn't do that. They have to play Brazil today. And Shabby Singh, what a match we got on our hands.
Indeed, it is. It's going to be a match of contrasting styles, really. The Brazilians with their flair and the Australians with their aggression. So it'll be interesting, you know. First of all, if you want to upset the Brazilians, you've got to get near them first. And that, I think, is going to be the main battle, the physical battle. How tightly can Australia mark the Brazilians? In which areas of the pitch are they going to mark? Are they going to press the Brazilians? Are they going to sit back and wait for them to come forward? So really the questions are aplenty for Australia to answer, because the Brazilians are obviously in full flow in this tournament.
I tell you what, it's an electric atmosphere here in Stadium Negara. We got fans of Brazil really enjoying up the atmosphere and bringing the samba flavor as we see the teams coming out over here. We know Brazil's it's the world #1. Basically, Shabby, all they've got to do is just play their normal game and that should be enough.
That's right, yeah. They will not allow themselves to get complacent in any way. So if they stick to what they normally do, that will stand them in good state. I mean, they've got some fantastic players. Lenicio is starting, Valdini is starting, so is Villian and Chico. So that's a very, very strong lineup up against these Australians.
And the Australians perhaps could take part in the first Cup semi-final. Even though Thailand lost, they were certainly the underdogs with injuries and suspension. They really played really, really well. And Australia is probably thinking, perhaps we can do the same in the semi-final.
Why not? If you see somebody like Thailand, you know, with a depleted squad, running the Argentinians close, there is a lot of confidence that you can take from that. But Lenicio is the man that they will have to stop. Thiago is an amazing goalkeeper, but that man there, just behind him, is key to this game.
Well, and against Holland, and we've perhaps agreed so far that Lenicio scored the goal of the tournament. Do you think we're going to see a better goal tonight?
Oh, well, you never know, because the Brazilians always raise their game. And this is the semi-finals of the Cup competition. This is where the big boys stand up to be counted. And there are a few of them as well in the Australian team, to be honest, Jen. I mean, the likes of Vizari, Giovanelli, Lachlan Wright, the captain. He might look a bit tubby, but I tell you, he's got very, very quick feet.
And also, interestingly, in the lineups, we've always talked about Falcao. We know that he's not in the starting 5. How long do you think it will take Paulo Cesar de Oliveira to put him in the match?
Well, they will want to protect him for as long as they can with that injury. But if the going gets tough, then they will throw Falcao in there to make a difference, because he is quite rightly right now the best player in the world, although there is a young pretender to that crown already. So, I mean, from the bench, this is where Brazil could make a difference with Falcao coming on.
All right, both teams are ready like the tradition here at the KL5's. Now it's time for the national anthem for both teams. It is the second cup semi-finals, Brazil versus Australia. It's a cracking atmosphere here in Stadium Negara. Let's head over to our commentators, Chevy Singh and Paul Macefield.
Thank you very much, Jen, and a wonderful game is in prospect. Let's not forget, Australia upsetting all the odds, finishing second in their group. What an amazing game that was yesterday. But Brazil ranked world number 1. Let's just have a look at their starting lineup. All the eyes will be looking at Villeneuve. He's got 5 goals in this competition. And also Lenicio, the superstar of Brazilian football. Let's meet the boys from Brazil.
Meu nome é Thiago, sou goleiro da Seleção Brasileira de Futsal.
Meu nome é Lenísio, sou pivô da Seleção Brasileira de Futsal.
Meu nome é Valdir, sou ala da Seleção Brasileira de Futsal.
Meu nome é William, sou ala da Seleção Brasileira de Futsal.
Meu nome é Chico, sou fixo da Seleção Brasileira de Futsal.
Make no mistakes about it, this Australian side is not here to make up the numbers. Giovanelli's the one who's been banging the goals in. He has 5. Let's meet the boys from down under.
My name is Adrian Vazari, Australian pivot. Simon Keith, Australian pivot. Lachlan Wright, Australian utility.
Peter Spaffis, Australian goalkeeper.
Lots of pivots in those sides. We actually watched the teams doing the interviews and everybody was winding each other up and giving each other some stick and poking each other and throwing drinks on them. But the serious stuff starts here. There's a berth in the KL5's Cup competition as this is the second semi-final. And Chevy Singh, who's made that arduous journey over here to the commentary position. Chevy, we did see it in that game, didn't we? Where Australia took on Argentina. The first 5 minutes they took 3 fouls, didn't concede another foul till 2 minutes to go. Will they be competitive like this against a very flairful Brazilian side?
They will have to be, Paul, because Brazil loves star sports. They had set the banner out there. Anyway, yes, the Australians will have to employ the same tactics that they did against Argentina. I know they will. I mean, that is part and parcel of the game. You try to get under the noses of the Brazilians, try to upset their rhythm, and then hope that you get the run of the ball, as they did against Argentina. An early goal for Australia was key in that game.
It really was, and also the physical prowess that they showed in that opening 5 minutes. So Brazil, in their usual yellow strips, kicking from left to right, all the troubles of jet lag and the 40-hour trip from Rio de Janeiro seems to have evaporated. They still haven't replaced the kit that was stolen or stroke lost, which was why somebody went out and bought them a new kit before they got here and arrived. And Brazil with Lenicio straight away looks to get going. He thought he was fouled there by Lachlan Wright. He's saying to the official on the far side, did you not see that? Was that a foul, Chevy?
Oh, well, highly debatable, the one. I think the referees would... I tell you what, Paul, I mean, the referee is from the Philippines, a second referee from Brunei, third referee from Thailand. I mean, these referees could get intimidated by the fact that the Brazilians are out there, the best futsal team in the world, up against Australia. And I can tell you it's not easy for the referees.
They were total underdogs going into this tournament, Australia. However, it did pit them in that weaker group. They still came through it, though, it has to be said, quite convincingly as well. They've surprised a lot of people on the way. And that rank of 32 in the world will surely be evaporated when FIFA take to new rankings in the next week or two after this tournament. But a chance there straight away for Lenicio. Fortunately, Spathis was on his toes. Let's not forget also that the Aussies goalkeeper, the reserve goalkeeper, Charles O'Brien, broke his arm against Malaysia. So if anything was to happen to Spathis, that could cause a problem or two.
It would cause a problem. It would mean that one of the outfield players will have to get in. And look at that. I mean, Lenicio doesn't need an invitation, does he, for a strike on goal? And yes, Paul, it'll be a big loss for them. And as the tournament progresses, you know that players are going to get injured, players are going to get suspended. And you hope that they're not your key players. It's a good strike from Billion from distance, making Spathis work very hard. And that's the intention for the Brazilians, Paul. They will want to win this game early.
Oh, there was half a chance there, but Willen just didn't gamble. So can we see an early strike here from Australia? Looking for the foul there, Lachlan Wright. Sort of ran into the player and went to ground quite easily, didn't he, Shibby? As though he was trying to look for that and draw that foul.
Indeed he was, and credit to the referee on that occasion. Wright had an opportunity to shoot, he didn't.
But just something off the ball there, Shibby. Vazari grabbed hold of Willen, and Willen actually swung an elbow and missed him. So there's needle in this game already, and Australia straight in Brazil's face.
No surprise there, no surprise there really, Paul. I mean, they did that to the Argentinians. There were a lot of off-the-ball incidences and a lot of body checking, a lot of tugging and holding. So the referees are going to be very brave. And for the Brazilians, they will have to be very cool, because the Argentinians...
They have to be above it, won't they, Shebby?
Yes, the Argentinians refused to get intimidated. They didn't get involved.
Yeah.
But the Brazilians here, as you have just seen there, Paul, with Willian, they might just react, and retaliation always gets
Here is
punished.
Willen, it's a goal! What a finish that was. Intimidation, not. That is the statement that was sent by Willen, and he continues his goal-scoring streak, having scored in every game so far. Lovely threaded pass from Valdin, and what a finish, Shebby.
Well, indeed, Giovanelli caught napping. William gets behind him. Waldin threads the ball through, and William, what do? Coming in from that direction, hard and low into the far post. Textbook goal from William.
Giovanelli was the man that was caught out. There we see physical contact again, and it is Vazari, somewhat of an enforcer. Just letting Lenicio know that he's in a game.
Well, unlucky for Spettis. He's going to be a very, very busy man.
All the hype has been surrounded by Australia and their ability to get to this stage. But you know what they say, Shebby, about cream always rising to the top, and that's exactly what should happen.
Well, we have seen that already, Paul, with that first goal and the quality that Brazil bring.
Australia just content to try and keep possession and roll it around, but Giovanelli there makes a big mistake. Let's get straight down to PJ to hear what's going on down on the Australian bench. PJ?
Yes, Paul, had the opportunity to speak to Scott Gillian and a couple of the Australian players before the match, and they were absolutely buoyed by their 3-3 draw against Argentina. They absolutely loved it. Being here in the semi-final is just an absolute delight. They can't believe the fact they've had no preparation, they've made it this far, and they are going to go after this game. They know that Brazil do have better quality on the ball, but they are going to try and match them all over the park.
Willen there just trying to poke it in. Again, Spathis standing big, standing tall and strong. Well, sometimes as a keeper you just have to stand there and let the ball hit you.
Indeed, Paul, all you have to do is to block it. But Paul, early indication here, defenders caught napping. Giovanelli got caught napping, he got punished by William, and this time around it was Vazari. William just sneaking behind him, and a good save from Spettis.
Brazil looking composed as ever, stroking it around, missing 3 or 4 of their top international futsal players who have domestic commitments in Spain and Italy, but nonetheless they've brought the young guns here and they've brought supreme quality. There's somebody with quality now, there's somebody else with quality. Not a million miles away there from Willen.
No, not at all. He wants to shoot on side. He's got a goal. He's brought up a good save from Spettis, and on that occasion he'll be very disappointed. We knew what he was aiming for the top corner. Unfortunately, just overhit it. But Paul, not to forget that Thiago did pull off a good save as well from right just now.
Again, just emphasising what you had said, Shebby, about his quality. Lachlan Wright with the ball forwards. Lenicio just trying to play the quick give and go, but closed down quickly there by Keith. They'll take their time stroking this ball around. Great atmosphere here.
Indeed it is, Paul. I mean,
how has he managed to get to that, Shebby? I mean, that's not just normal football. That's so acrobatic. Look at the stretch.
It is. Look at that ball in, and then that stretch. And again, once again, defenders ball watching, not marking tight enough. And there's another shot on goal.
If this is the indication of what's left of the 15 minutes and 20 seconds of this half and the second half to come, then we're in for a real treat. Keith had that one fired at him, really couldn't hit it first time, which he wanted to do. Giovanelli tries to place it over the top. Man who plays his football over in Italy.
And why not, Paul? I mean, he's brought qualities. He's a very, very accomplished defender in this futsal sport, and he's not afraid to get forward. He scored goals as well.
Valdin with the movement, coming short, waiting for support. Chico's the man on the move now. Lenicio picks this one up. Villan says, I want to come and join in. Great ball, great play. Valdin couldn't just hit the target. It just shows really, the man who scored 57 international goals, Valdin, he had 2 openings account in this competition, Chevy. It's unusual.
Yeah, Paul. Indeed it is. Paul, I mean, just once again, I would like to make the point.
Quick counter-attack, he could break his duck here. Fantastic save again from Spathis.
Very, very important save that was. I mean, once again, the Brazilians displaying their quickness of thought and movement. And the Australians are very slow to react to that. As William goes off.
The fans are on their feet, and you know why? Because Falcao has joined the fray. The man who was voted FIFA World Futsal Player of the Year in 2004 is now on the pitch. Here he is, and how about that? Just a little bit of entertainment for the fans. The long-range shot just goes wide.
Well, that's
what the fans want to see.
Exactly. I mean, that's what futsal is all about. It is all about entertainment, and Falcao does provide that in abundance. It was Chico actually who got that shot away. Unfortunately, didn't hit the target.
So the Australians being pushed back, and again, good pressure from Brazil.
Oh, Paul, this is a treat, isn't it? I mean, you have Falcao, the best player in the world, and you have Lenicio, the pretender to the crown, both on the same pitch together. But you will be impressed by their work rate as well. They're all-round players. And Cabrera has come on as well, an out-and-out attacking player he is.
Everyone moving, everybody passing. It just seems to be completely fluid. PJ, what is the tactic from the Brazilians when they go forwards?
Yes, Paul. Just watching PC de Oliveira on the Brazilian bench, and he does want them pressing Australia deep, trying to win the ball back early. They do feel they can pressurise Australia into giving the ball up. But in attack, he is continuing to tell them he wants them recycling and moving the ball quicker, which means that when they do have the ball, making those rotations and passing the ball, trying to stretch the Australian defence.
Thank you, PJ. Brazil opting for the diamond shape. A little bit of a mix-up there. Chico let the ball go, and Thiago was just enough on his toes to make sure that it wasn't going to go in the back of the net. Half a chance there for the Australians, but again, Brazil just seemed to quell it. The only side in this tournament yet to concede a goal. Cabrera just rolls it inside. Deflected away off Hayden. That's going to be a corner.
Well, it was Falcao just looking to strike that ball, and then decided he was trying to curl it around the defender, but a good block.
Oh, there's a chance, and how about that? That is sheer quality. Absolute class shown by Lenicio. He waited, he stopped, he flicked it over the keeper, and Chevy, you don't see him come better than that.
No, not at all. Paul, I think they should just throw in the towel now, the Australians, if this is how Brazil are going to approach the game. I mean, look at that. That is just simply outrageous. Top quality from Lenicio. Once again, the Australians just not moving quickly enough, Paul. Got caught napping once again for the second goal.
Here they come again. Falcao to Lenicio. Chico joins in. Cabrera. It just seems that the two semi-finals that we've seen so far, Argentina and Brazil, do have that extra gear to move into. And it was quite interesting to hear the comments from the Argentinian side. They would rather play against Brazil in the final.
Always, Paul. That makes for classic finals in any sport. The Argentine and the Brazilian rivalry just gives it added spice. I can tell you that.
Falcao is trying to pull them all out the bag for the fans who have arrived today. There's actually samba drums and dancers, and they're absolutely fanatical fans, aren't they? So they're all out in force today.
They do. I mean, anywhere in the world that Brazil play, their colourful fans are there in their numbers, and they thoroughly enjoy what they get to see on the pitch. And this has been enjoyable.
Hayden tries to get the better of Falcao. Can't be easy, it has to be said.
Well, it is important for Falcao, isn't it, Paul? I mean, he came into this tournament with an ankle injury. It's nice to see him moving freely.
And we haven't seen yet the number 4, Ari. He picked up a thigh strain, and that was actually in the second game against Iran, and we haven't seen anything of him since that game.
Yeah, he's another one, Paul. I mean, there's too much quality in that team, and it is a very good situation for the Oliveira, how he rotates the teams, the squads rather, the boys, giving everybody enough playing time. But there's one player who you will see hardly gets to leave the pitch, and that's Chico on the ball there, Paul. He's a real out-and-out defender. Gets a lot of playing time.
Good long-range shot there from McEway. Easily dealt with by Spaffis, but again, pressure applied from Brazil. Almost like the full-court press in basketball. Foul conceded by Brazil. That's represented by a red dot at the bottom of the screen. If you see 5 red dots, then that's a side in foul trouble. One more is an undefended free kick from the 10-metre point, which is a spot in the middle. Well, we really thought that we'd see Argentina, the way that Argentina were fouled, happen to the Brazilians today, Shebby. The Aussies haven't come out with that physical prowess that they did in that game.
Well, to be honest, Paul, I mean, to foul the Brazilians, first of all, you've got to get close to them. And that has been the big difference. The Australians just not being able to keep up with the mobility of the Brazilians. They can't get close enough to foul anyone.
It's all backed up by strong domestic leagues. As another long-range shot comes in. Mitoué, the young 18-year-old who did score against Iran, making his 19th cap today, fires that one in.
Well, top class there from Mitoué from distance. But I can tell you that Peter Spaffis is a very, very accomplished goalkeeper for Australia.
Brazil content there just to hack it away and just wait. Means they can get their shape back and get themselves organised.
Well, that's the man in the picture there, Paul. Working overtime, but don't they all against the Brazilians?
Samba drums start beating again. It's Brazil who have to defend this. Just plays it wide. Hayden shows great feet. Tries to poke it forwards for Makor, who, despite his size, looks very, very accomplished and very good. Very much a striker that stays on the edge of the D and someone you can fire the ball into to hold it up and wait for support.
Yes, indeed. I mean, when you play the diamond formation...
Just see there, sorry about that. Falcao puts his hands up and says number 6, so it's obviously a routine and a move that they practice, so everybody knows what they're doing.
It is a set play. It is a set play, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they're rotating the players now, maneuvering into position to make that number 6 work.
It's always interesting, fascinating. There's always something new that you pick up from every game, whatever you watch. I mean, that move there, the little back heel trying to get the forward in. Sublime play, it has to be said. McCall rolls it back. Fernando, mistake from Flanagan. Waller's a little breather in play. Let's get straight back down to PJ. PJ, what have you got for us?
There's poor comments from the Australian bench. Scotty Gilligan in particular, when they are defending, they feel they are defending too deep and getting caught on the tip of their D, which is really playing into the Brazilian hands with their ability to pull the trigger and have shots very, very quickly. They want to defend slightly higher up the court and close the individual players down immediately when they do get the ball.
Thanks, PJ. Chevy, Scott Gilligan was talking about a 15-metre line when they played against Argentina. That just hasn't happened today.
No, not at all. I mean, it's obviously impossible. What is in the back of the Australian players' minds is that let's not give them, leave the Brazilians room behind us to exploit. Let's try to keep them in front of us. But in doing that, they have backpedaled a little too deep and have been punished for that.
Right with the shot, Thiago down to his right to save with ease. So the atmosphere building here at the Stadium Nagara. Second semi-final of the cup competition. And is it going to be three? Falcao doesn't woo everybody just yet.
No, not at all. Didn't look very sharp when he gone to beat it. But great work from Cabrueva. He swept past the defender as if he wasn't there. Giovanelli having a nightmare on the right side of defense for Australia.
There he is, just getting dispossessed again. Giovanelli tried to step inside and play the ball. There's the fact, how fanatical they are. And particularly in KL, we've seen it with the Iranian fans, we saw it earlier with the Argentinian fans, and now we're seeing it with the Brazilian fans. It's all boding for tomorrow's play here at the KL World Fives to be something a little bit special. Everything kicks off at 3 o'clock with the bowl final. That will be England against China. That game in itself should be fantastic. Two sides that haven't taken a point at all from the tournament, so lots to play for there. Holland versus Iran will be the next offering, and with the Dutch fans so colourful and the Iranians so fanatical, this place should be rocking. There's that little use of the arm again. Handball this time, just let it roll down his arm. So we can't say who else is in the final with Argentina yet, because this game's not over. But, Chevy, and I have to say a big but.
Early, yeah.
It's early days.
It is early indication.
Brazil,
early indication of who will be in the final alongside Argentina. And we will have a repeat of the final we had 5 years ago in Kuala Lumpur if it is Argentina against Brazil. And once again, that this is the powerhouse tactics that we see Australia employing, strong-handed rather. Giovanelli fouling Falcao, who tried to flick the ball over him.
A little bit too physical. Lenicio tries a little roll, right, just picks it up. Now Laffy involved and on the pitch now as well. There's right, Giovanelli pushing forwards. Shows a little bit of quality there by skipping past Willen. And there's Harry, number 4. So that thigh strain has cleared up, he's been deployed. It looks as though he is the swap for the number 15, Chico.
Indeed, it is.
The enforcer.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. I mean, the defender wears the number 4 on his back. But this guy, and is another one, Valdin, who has been very, very impressive. The number 13, very light on his feet, very quick in his thinking.
Good movement from Lenicio. Good defending from Australia. Australia win the foul. 3-2.
If you see the difference in physique there, how could Valdin foul right? But it did happen. Coming back
into him. To be fair, they've not been intimidated, have they, Brazil? They've stood up straight in Australia's face and said, okay, you want to mix it, we'll mix it.
But to be honest, Paul, they've not. I mean, Australia have hardly gotten near Brazil to mix it. I mean, apart from that Giovanelli shove on Falcao, no chance for the Australians to even come within touching distance of the Brazilians. Such has been the Brazilian superiority in this game.
There's Harry, good feet shown by him. Lenicio drills it wide. Well, the call was hurry up, Harry, get into the box.
Well, he does. I mean, makes it seem so effortless. The hallmark of a top-class player. always seems to have time on the ball.
Strong challenge there coming from Dowie, just managed to get in there very quickly. Valdin not wanting to get caught again. Lenicio just over the top. How many times have we seen the Brazilians do that, Chef, from a corner or a set play, a kick in, just that little flick to the far post, and then not afraid to try that?
No, not at all. I mean, if you have got fantastic technique as Lenicio have got, why not? On that occasion, the accuracy was just something that was missing, but the idea, the technique was right.
A little poke nearly surprised Thiago.
Oh, that's a big, big chance for Downey. Suddenly found himself with loads of space, and a great ball in for Giovanelli. Good save from Thiago.
Put Downey a real opportunity. And, well, that was very much tongue-in-cheek there from Lenicio. Hand goes up to apologise to Thiago. Nearly got his goalkeeper's face smashed in.
Well, he's playing with a smile on his face, Lenicio, enjoying every minute, every moment.
Giovanelli there just getting caught yet again with the ball. Valdin was back there doing all the donkey work and making it difficult. Harry spreads it wide. Lenicio almost picks out Valdin. It is really fluid when these boys start to play, isn't it, Chevy?
Indeed it is. This has been very comfortable for Brazil.
Lenicio spreads it wide. This is brilliant. This is absolute sheer quality. And it's Valdin who gets his first of the tournament with this classic futsal move. Pass, 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 goal.
Exactly, Paul. I mean, the passing and the movement is something that every player should be looking at. It's just so smooth in their delivery, in their movement. And the Australians just can't get near enough to put in a challenge.
So Australia just, I mean, admiring that. It was wonderful play, but a chance for them to bounce straight back. Harry Tough in the challenge concedes the kick-in. You see the shout there from Robert Keith. Filled it in a little bit too high for McCaw.
Well, it obviously was a rehearsed move. Unfortunately, the delivery was poor and not giving Mecca a chance to either head it or to control it.
I looked over my shoulder when you said Macca. I thought Steve had turned up then, Chevy. McCaw actually played football with PJ when he was 10 years old, so he's one of the veterans of the side. These two grew up together, playing football and futsal. Here he is. That's his job, to hold it up, to keep possession. But then gives it away purely and simply because he's crowded out by yellow shirts.
Well, that's the key, isn't it, Paul? I mean, how quickly the Brazilians win back the ball. We did say that about Argentina against Thailand, but that is it. And I can tell you, Vizari, who's come on,
he's very lucky,
he's a tough nut. Yes, he is. I mean, he's the troublemaker in that team.
That's twice now we've seen an off-the-ball incident with him. Great play. That lovely little roll inside from Valdin. Millen just tried to pick out that top spot.
Once again, the movement, Paul, I mean, it has been unbelievable. The off-the-ball running, the willingness to get into position, the sleekness of the passing. Yes, indeed. And the goateed one might not be showing too much expression, but I can tell you he's very, very happy.
He is very happy. He's just about to do a little bit more rotation. The reason we say that there is a joke between Chevy, myself, and everybody here that is Rafa Benitez on the sideline because of the way that he looks.
Are you saying that Rafa is in the wrong job, Paul, or in the wrong spot?
No, he just looks like him.
No, Rafa should be in futsal because that's where the rotation is absolutely necessary. It's key.
Brazil leading by 3-0. Still keeping possession. Harry.
Well, you just compare the two, Paul. I'm sorry. I mean, you just compare the two, Australia and Brazil, and you can safely say that the Australians are a bit rough around the edges.
But that's reflected in their world ranking. But their result was yesterday, wasn't it? The 3-3 draw with Argentina. That was the big thing for them.
And I'm beginning to think now, Paul, how much did he take out of the Australians physically? Because they have looked a yard short in this game.
Yeah, you're quite right, actually, Chevy. You are right. The Brazilians find that as the norm, so do the Argentinians. But it was new territory for Australia.
Yeah, the Brazilians had a very easy stroll against the Dutch in their last game, whereas Australia had to dig deep into their reserves.
You would have to say that the Australians would have come into this tournament just hoping to do well in the plate. So for them to be where they are here in the Cup, that's an achievement in itself.
It is an achievement. I mean, you know, you've played against Argentina, now you are playing against Brazil. And if you want to be among the best, you've got to play against the best, learn from them.
McCall just trying to get something going, but it's the counter-attacking football that's so sleek and swift from Brazil. And Willen again just tries to bend it round Spathis, who, to be fair, is having an excellent game. Falcao! Just pulls his shot wide.
Wow, they've had another look at goal there from Falcao. And they seem to work that ever so effortlessly.
Bizarri trying to get things going again. McCall manages to win it back. Well, time is upon us. That's the end of the first half. Thoroughly enjoying that game. I think everybody had forgotten about how long was left. But we left in no illusions whatsoever. There's only one team in this, and it's the best team that's leading. Absolute quality from Brazil all over the park. Australia have tried, they've knocked on the door, but the Brazilians have been stout. At half-time here in Kuala Lumpur, Brazil 3, Australia 0. Analysis after this.
Premiership action coming your way. It's live on Sunday. It's Newcastle United versus Middlesbrough. Can this be Kevin Keegan's first win after returning back to Tyneside? We'll catch it live Sunday on ESPN. But now the main focus on hand is the second cup semi-final here. It's Brazil. It's been a master-class performance, Shabby, hasn't it?
Indeed it is. I mean, I can't find any other words, but that word that you use, masterclass, is just shown us, that the Brazilians are definitely on a different planet when it comes to futsal.
Let's take a look at the first half highlights and some analysis on it. Like we said before, it's a masterclass performance by Brazil, and they basically they had everything.
They are just walking through that Australian defense. I mean, where is the aggression that the Australians displayed against Argentina? They can't get near any Brazilian to put in a challenge. Spathes has had a wonderful game in goal, but he had no chance with this. It was a top-class finish, catching the goalkeeper while he's still running out. But a great chance to equalize. Yep. Good shot from Giovanelli, but Wright not getting there, not getting enough behind the shot to beat Thiago. But that was the only one chance they had. And then, once again, it has been Peter Spathes against Brazil rather than Australia against Brazil.
And you're right, during the commentary you brought up a very good point, saying that Australia looked tired after exerting all of that against Argentina, and it certainly did.
They do, they look a yard short of the Brazilians, and I know it just makes me wonder, once again, the physical exertions against the Argentinians obviously took its toll. A masterclass, a top-class goal from Lenicio, and then Falcao had a chance to make it 3, but they have been ever so superior.
And with the introduction of Falcao, the Brazilian fans is absolutely loving it because he didn't play against Holland, but they didn't quite need him, did they?
No, not at all. I mean, they've got so much class out there. And this again is futsal. I mean, you've got not only look at the passing, but the running of Baldin. It comes from a long, long way off to finish off that move. And Falcao will want to get on the score sheet as well. Unlucky with that. Just not getting his foot around the ball enough.
And the stats show that Brazil is leading 3-0, but also after 180 minutes of futsal in this tournament, they have yet to concede a goal.
Unbelievable. And when you think if you have Falcao, Lenicio out on the pitch, both very, very attack-minded players, and yet the amount of work they put into defending as well, I mean, they are perfect examples, perfect role models for not only futsal players, but for footballers as well.
And I'm sure the Australian coach, Scott Gilligan, will have a lot to say to his players, Shabby. Now, what do you think he will have to say to Russell Boys to have perhaps a better performance in the second half?
I think if the question is physical, then he really cannot say anything. He cannot ask for more. But if he thinks, that maybe they're not right in their minds, he will be telling them, come on lads, you had a great game against Argentina. You know how good you are. Now go out there and show me.
Now let's hear from the man himself, Scott Gilligan, and PJ Roberts is with him pitchside.
Here the Australian coach, Scotty Gilligan. Scotty, how do you stop that classical Brazilian attack?
Probably years of experience, mate. Another 60 years, we might get there. It's very difficult. I mean, their ball movement is fantastic. Obviously, the movement off the ball is if you watch them, they play a two-touch game. It's very difficult to shut someone down when they're trap and pass straight away in motion. Very difficult, mate.
How about going forward? What sort of tactics will you deploy in the second half to try and break open the Brazilian defence?
Well, I mean, obviously, again, we've got the same problem when we played Argentina. We're still throwing the ball a little bit too long. We need to make sure that we have a player knocking the pass and going away as someone's coming back in. Much the same as we did probably the last few seconds of the game there. But we've got to do more of that. And that's, I think we're a little bit tired, I must admit. It's been a long tournament, but at the same time, we know how to do it. But these guys, they put the pressure on them. Loads of experience, mate.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, Scotty. Yeah, exactly. Cheers, mate. Good luck in the second half.
Shabby, Coach Gilligan there, basically admitting that the Brazilians tonight have been too good.
They are a class above in every sense of the word. And I think, if there's a positive for Gilligan is that they will measure themselves against Argentina, but they know that there's a gulf between them and Brazil, and they will realize what are the areas that they need to work on. And some of it is definitely got to be with the support play, because the Australians are very, very afraid to push on or to get players forward, and that is always going to cause a problem for them, because it means that Brazil have too much of the ball.
In Australia with so much to do, but now PJ Roberts is pitch side with Brazilian player Ari Santos. PJ?
So I'm here with Ari, the Brazilian number 4, and Rafael, the translator. Rafael, could you please ask Ari his thoughts of the first half?
Ari, o que você achou do primeiro tempo?
A gente começou bem diferente das outras partidas. Hoje a gente está contando com mais jogadores, voltando eu e o Falcão dando uma ajuda. E a gente com a nossa técnica estamos esperando a força física da Austrália.
We were started the game well today. Different what happened in the games of the first round. And the return of the Ari and Falcão, the team is better today.
They've certainly added a lot of value. What does Ari think of the Australian team in relation to what are their main strengths?
O que você pode falar do time da Austrália, basicamente?
É uma excelente equipe, jogadores muito fortes, onde tem que se movimentar rápido, porque se deixar no contato eles podem ganhar de nós.
The Australian players is very strong, and the Brazilian imposing the technique under the strong games of the Australians. Okay?
Rafael, thank you very much. Ari, thank you.
Thank you.
So it's proven the return of Falcão and Ari Santos, Brazil are a much better side. But now it's time for us to take a break. When we come back, second half, it's Brazil versus Australia.
KL5's action coming at you live and exclusive tomorrow on Star Sports. We are going to kick off at 3 p.m. with the bowl final. China versus England, both sides not winning a game. It's going to be a great encounter, not as good as the plate final. That's at 5 p.m. Netherlands will take on Iran in what should be an absolute cracker. The England team down here, that's a day of rest. I've just been down speaking to Graham Dell. He said he's given the boys a complete day off, and let's see how we go against China. Chevy, what do you think could happen there? Because Graham thinks that they might have a half an opportunity.
Well, I don't think so, Paul. I mean, I would like to feel as confident as Graham Dell, but the Chinese have shown in this competition that they have improved in leaps and bounds, and especially physically, the Chinese are very, very fit.
Back to the matter in hand, Chevy. What will have been said at half-time, particularly in the Australian camp?
Well, as I was having a chat with Jen, I said, look, if it is a physical problem, there's not much the coach can do about it, because Argentina took a lot out of Australia. But if it is in the mind, and I think it is in the mind because the Australians are not brave enough to venture forward. You always see only one up front, Wright or Mecco. The others are not pushing up in support of him quickly enough, because there's a fear in the back of their minds that if they leave space behind, the Brazilians will exploit them. So I hope that Gilligan has sorted that out and said, look, let's go for broke, let's push the Brazilians back, and let's try to get back into the game.
2 goals in the first 8 minutes, near enough killing this tie. Willen it was getting the first, keeping up that little statistic that he's scored in every single game so far in this competition. The same as Lenicio. His goal on 8 minutes was so cheeky, it was untrue. He waited for the keeper to go down and flicked it over him. Baldin's added a third. So the second half kicks off with Brazil 3 up, and you can't help but worry for the Australians. Great little ball flip forwards, but just on that far side, Chico didn't quite read that one. Thought the defender was going to get it. Ball launched very, very long to him, and again, look at that, 4 yellow shirts closing down very quickly, Chevy.
Indeed,
and the Australians nowhere to be seen.
No, that's the problem, because if we saw more dark blue or black shirts forward, the Brazilians will have to spread out a little bit. But you saw that one player on the ball, 4 yellow shirts, and the others just standing on the halfway line. No, that's not good enough from Australia.
Is it they're just running out of legs? Is that the problem, Shepard?
That's right. I mean, we did talk about it, didn't we, Paul, that the game against Argentina took a lot out of them physically. And this is where Gilligan will have to be smart. He will have to rotate the players, make it a 2-minute rotation if needs be.
When Shepard talks about rotation, it's near enough chopping and changing the team as a whole. We've seen various teams do it at various times, but you normally find that the standard is anything between 3 and 5 minutes, which means 4 outfield players will play for that amount of time, then the whole lot will be rotated.
I mean, you can see that there, Paul. I mean, that picture, Giovanelli, already hands on his knees, bending forward, bending over, tired.
Willen lets that go. Falcao is on, pulls it back. Lenicio, back to Falcao. Lenicio being tugged back there, the official's not giving it. Shrug of the shoulders from Lenicio, doesn't want to get involved, knows that there's bigger fish to fry tomorrow.
Indeed, it is a chance for revenge. 5 years ago in Kuala Lumpur, Argentina upset Brazil to win the title, and the Brazilians will want to put that right.
What a game that was. Lenicio with the turn, Nakor in very strongly as well. It was an unbelievable game, wasn't it, Chevy? It's one of the few games that I've ever seen in futsal that went to extra time, was decided by a golden goal. But that tournament just showed so much class and quality, didn't it?
Indeed, Paul. I mean, it might be 5 years ago, but it just seems like it was yesterday. I mean, that's how good the game was. It's become permanently etched in memory.
Permanently etched in memory on this game will be Australia, after coming up with a valiant draw against Argentina, to have to play Brazil the very next day It doesn't happen often in football, does it? It doesn't happen often in any sport where 2 days consecutively you play two real world quality class teams.
Well, it is at the stage of that competition, isn't it, Paul? I mean, if you progress that far, then that is what is going to happen. You're going to run into teams who are so much better, who are top class.
Long range shot. How about that for a poke from Willen? That has come out of absolutely nothing. Brazil just looking happy, content, just stroking the ball around. Then all of a sudden, no backlift and bang! Straight in.
He does. He catches Peter Sparris by surprise because the Brazilians, I don't know, must have made about 25 passes. Catching Sparris, napping a little bit, and then when William hits it, it is just like a guided missile. And it rebounded almost 10 yards back into play, coming off the net.
Moving his way very swiftly up the leading goal scorers chart. Bruto has that honour at the moment with 10, the Argentinian striker. He's only about 5'7", but boy oh boy, is he a powerful lad, and he has got an all-round game as well. So Brazil, again, just look to stroke it around, flick forward from Lenicio, shot comes in, far post, Giovanelli gets it away, but Australia now look to try and counter-attack, dispossessed. Willen gets it back, simple, quality football from Brazil. That's his hat-trick, and that's another fantastic futsal goal.
Exactly, that is. I mean, look at that give and go. On the wall pass, on the 1-2. Call it what you want. It is Brazilian masterclass out there.
Nine goals this tournament now, bearing down on Naruto. Let's get straight down. Hold on, before we do that, there could be another one here. Save from Spathis. Quickly down to PJ Roberts. You've got some observations down there. PJ.
Australian players, when they did come out, they said that in relation to the Brazilian defending, they're very solid, but exceptional. We just see Lenicio score. But he said what is so unbelievable about this Brazilian team is that when they have the ball, they move it so quickly, and they are so dynamic with their runs. It's like chasing shadows. And Lenicio getting on the score sheet there is just another example of that.
That is sheer quality. Look at the no-look pass there from Falcao. He waits, he goes to shoot, waits for the keeper, Spathis, to open his legs, and just pokes it through nonchalantly. What a goal, Chevy. That's got to be up there with goal of the tournament. What a finish.
Yes, it's going to be like top 10 goals of the tournament, scored by Lenicio, looks like. Every goal that he has scored has been of quality, but Falcao had a major part to play in that. His vision in spotting that Lenicio was unmarked was just something that you see only from world-class players. And that finish, Lenicio is certainly a very, very confident character.
Nearly an own goal there. Well then, nearly putting it past Thiago. Quick counter-attack there from the Aussies. Well, I've got Lenicio scoring 2 against China, 2 against Iran, 3 against Thailand, 1 against Holland.
Very much better from Valdin this time.
Is right. Flip forwards from Spathis, a little incident off the ball there. Now I just wonder, Falcao goes to say sorry to Vazari, who's not having it, who literally tried to kick lumps out of everybody in the first half and now doesn't like a bit of his own medicine.
Oh yes, Paul, I mean, we have seen a lot of them, haven't we? I mean, he was dishing it out against Argentina and now goes complaining to the referee, Vazari. But he's got his eye on Falcao, he's watching Falcao.
Well, they seem to be playing a zonal box because just staying in certain areas. The Brazilians have just got far too much movement for even us to comprehend. They just seem to be all over the place. And he just couldn't keep that in. Nice little interview with him at half-time. Nice to get a player's perspective on how they thought the game went.
It is, and he was very confident, wasn't he, Paul? I mean, he did admit that, his return alongside Falcao to the team had given them an extra dimension.
I like that word, Chevy. That was very, very diplomatically put, confident. Instead of blowing his own trumpet. Is that what you wanted to say?
Well, Paul, all top players, they have a little bit about them.
Absolutely. Well, he is full of experience, 42 caps. Only managed 25 goals and was missing after playing just a minute or two of the Iran game. Didn't play with a thigh strain, so it's good to see him back. Bizarri plays it inside. Here's the skipper right. Fires it wide. Good ball. Hayden shows good feet. Long range shot. Got to be something a bit more special to beat Thiago from that distance.
We have to, but it was good to see Australia coming out there with a little bit of confidence. Flanagan it was with that drive.
So the Aussies call a timeout. Just been overpowered at the moment. 3-0 at half-time it was. They've conceded 3 goals so far. Let's listen in. See if we can pick anything up.
Whoever's there, try and make sure they keep the offense. Chasing on the ball here. They keep playing on that side. Someone's got to drop it. Look for that one. Hey, lock. Hey, 5-minute periods, 3 5-minute periods, man.
5-minute periods is order of the day for the Aussies then. Don't forget, knock-in man of the match. The game tonight, Spurs, Manchester United, over on ESPN. You can vote, you can win mobile phones, you can win Barclays Premier League shirts, loads of goodies. Make sure you enter the competition. Little push in the back there. It was as well from Cabrueva. So Chevy, that timeout called just to calm down the Australians, just to say, come on guys, this is a big game, let's just go out there and carry on playing.
I mean, that's right. I mean, Gilligan will want them to up the tempo a little bit. Come on, off their shell, be a little bit more confident. He's shaking his head there. He's not happy. Obviously, the Australian players are not listening to the coach because they are overawed by Brazil. And if it's a mental thing, you can't really do much, can you?
There's nothing you can do if it's mental, Chevy. The players have to stand up and be counted. But standing up and being counted at the moment are the Brazilians. Great ball. Falcao just made the flat run instead of an arc run, and here comes Spathis. Spathis plays it wide, just a little bit too far in front of right.
Well, he's at least showing the way, Spathis, making the extra man in attack when needed to. And they need to be showing more confidence, Paul. Spathis has had a good game in goal. I mean, a couple of times, he's had to deal with very, very cheeky goals from Ledicio. But that hasn't affected his confidence.
Oh, like that one.
You knew that was coming. You knew that was coming.
Bizarri it is who's shown the yellow card. Falcao sucking him into that one because of the little afters that we saw earlier on.
That's right.
And you can see there quite clearly anger etched all over Bizarri's face. He is not happy at all with Falcao for taking the mickey out of him, shall we say.
Well, Paul, I mean, this is futsal of the highest quality. You're up against the best player in the world. But I think Bizarri should have dealt with that with a little bit of dignity.
Just into the side netting. Almost. Hayden, who looks as though he's got fantastic feet, to be fair, Hayden. All the way through this tournament, his feet have been very good. He's moved the ball. That shot there, not a million miles away, Chef.
No, not at all. And he has looked the sharpest of the lot. perhaps he should stay on the pitch longer than he really has been given time. He looks a very, very useful player.
Will Falcao go and hunt down Vazari? That's what we want to know, and do another trick or two.
Well, Paul, you want to have a little wager on that Falcao will nutmeg Vazari if he got too close. The ultimate insult.
I think he will, but this is good work from the Aussies. Could have been a chance, but Wright couldn't get that under control. Ball fired over the top. It's interesting. We can see what's happening off the ball, Chevy. And again, Vazari getting involved off the ball.
He will, I mean, he's looking to get sent off, definitely.
Brazilian players making angles all over the place now. Ari, roll back, Falcao!
What a super strike from Falcao. It's toe poke again, isn't it, Paul? And credit to Spethis. Good goalkeeping from him.
So 12 minutes and 10 seconds left in this half. Brazil in cruise control. They've done the damage, they've banged the goals in when they've needed to, and now they're just toying with the Aussies. Oh, that's brilliant, that's brilliant. Spethis again, how brave as you like. What has that man there, Falcao, got to do to score a goal here? Watch the dummy, bang. Unlucky.
Well, once again, Spethis for me, top man. But how well worked was that ball? I mean, that's a set play off the training pitch.
Here's Spethis again, trying to push forwards and create something. Will Harry shoot? No. So Brazil changed their goalkeeper as the scoreline warrants a little bit of game time for Rogério. That's his 98th cap, him coming on today, and that's no mean achievement either.
He has been a long, loyal servant to Brazil, Rogério. There's not too much a difference between the top two goalkeepers for Brazil.
Good work from Wright there, who looked as though he'd won a foul. No, said the official. Play on. So Brazil fire one across the face of the arc. Falcao
And
just
these
couldn't get there.
But these fans, Paul, I mean, they have been entertained. So have we.
Oh, Harry with a great bit of skill. Fires it at the goal. Spethis closing his angles and using the angles well there.
Credit to the goalkeeper. He has kept the score down. Might have let in 6, but I can tell you he's played a major role.
In it not being 16.
Exactly. That's how bad it could have been.
Giovanelli caught in possession there. Falcao with a chip. It's the bar. That's just how audacious this man is. Look at the vision.
I'm going to go out there, get a t-shirt and have it printed, I saw Falcao play. That is how fantastic this player is.
Blocks going in all over the place there from Brazil as well. Let's get straight down to PJ at pitch side, who's got something for us. PJ?
Yes, Paul, Scotty Gilligan, the Australian coach, still urging the players to continue playing. Yes, they are down 6-0. They know they are playing an absolute world champion side, but they do not want them to be overawed when they are on the ball. They want them to continue moving the ball, 1- and 2-touch football, and try and get a few goal-scoring opportunities.
Thanks for that, PJ. Nice to know that the Aussies aren't going to back down. They're going to stand up and try and be counted. Valdin just couldn't keep that under control. You might as well, when you're in this position, Chevy, you know that you're playing against, well, the world-ranked #1 team. You might as well just see if you can go and nick a goal, because yet, and as to date, this Brazilian defence has not been breached.
No, not at all, and it'll be a credit to whoever does that. And for Australia to say, yes, we scored the only 1 goal Brazil conceded up till the semi-finals. will be something to take back home and talk about, because most of it from Australia has been anonymous.
Cabrera.
But Paul, I mean, we talk about all the quality players out there when they have the ball, but I can tell you that the Brazilian players work ever so hard when they don't have the ball.
They do. Dewey there with a shot, and the youngster who scored a goal against Iran pulls the trigger. An 18-year-old, he's not short in confidence, the lad.
No, not at all. And to have such world-class players like Falcao, Lenicio, Valdin around you, I mean, what a joy, what a treat. I don't think Mithui gets too much sleep at night, because I'm sure he's wide awake every time thinking, pinching himself, this cannot be true.
Did miss a 10-metre penalty spot kick in the earlier game against Iran. Was entrusted with that one. They'd already won the game. I think they just wanted the youngster to score a goal.
Well, they have brought on Humberto. Clean slate ball. That's what the Brazilians will be looking at. The challenge now for them is to not concede a goal, rather than see how many they can score.
The only player we haven't seen so far from the Brazil side is the number 8, Leco. So one just wonders if he's carrying a little strain or a little knock. Giovanelli pulls the trigger, fires high and wide.
Took it rather early, Giovanelli. He had time, he had space to advance further, but they're showing a lack of confidence.
Great skills. Dewey there, totally not overawed. Brazil will win the kick-in. Foul count very low in this game. Only one foul each so far in this half. Really did think that at the start of the game we would have a repeat of what happened against Argentina, where 3 fouls were committed by the Aussies very quickly. Never transpired, Chevy, and thought that maybe at the beginning of the second half they might have done it then, had a little bit of a blast and tried to unrest and upset the Brazilian side.
Well, that's what we would have thought, but unfortunately this Australian team are running on empty after that game against Argentina. And once again, the 18-year-old displaying great confidence, Mithui.
Say they're running on empty, Chevy. They played before Brazil did yesterday, but what people have to understand is that these are seasoned pros, the Brazilians. They're playing professional futsal. They're training every day. They're playing in front of crowds of 5,000, 10,000 in arenas like this all over Brazil, because they do have state championships. They've got 2 national leagues. The infrastructure and the setup over there is absolutely phenomenal.
Indeed, Paul, that makes a world of difference. The competitive edge that they bring into competitions like this is not something that you can cultivate easily.
We already heard that the Aussies have just been thrown together and quite literally met at the airport. So when you consider that, it's an unbelievable achievement for them to actually be in this position. Dewey deflected. Spathis down quickly and tries to find McCurr as quickly as possible, but couldn't. Ruggiero was there instead, the keeper. Humberto, another youngster drafted into the squad, only 21. Only scored 2 goals from 20 caps, so this is 21st start for his country. But has had lots of opportunities during this tournament, Chevy, particularly in the earlier games. So it looks as though Brazil got the youngsters on. Cabrera, who's 24, Idue 18, Humberto 21. Save again from Spathis. Cabrera just dropping off and doing what Brazil do best, keep possession. PJ, you've got something for us on that.
Yes, Paul, it just seems like PC de Oliveira is resting some of the more senior players, I guess you could say. He does have the youngsters on. He is urging them to continue playing at a high intensity though. He wants them to get some match time under their belt, but I don't think we'll be seeing too many of the senior players as this match starts to roll down.
Robert Keith off the ball again there, so the Aussies not going down too well here.
Well, we saw a little bit of afters there from Keith, another one who doesn't like it when the going gets tough. And indeed, Paul, I mean, it is great to see the young ones out there as well. They are the future, and it is very important that you allow the older players to pace themselves, save them for the final, because it's odds on now that they will play their arch rivals Argentina in the final.
Two 21-year-olds, 118 and 124. So an average age there roughly of 21 years old. That's not bad for Brazil, for the outfield players. Let's just see these young superstars in the making and how they go. Humberto, oh, hits the post with a ferocious shot that comes from nothing. My, oh my, he's been very, very close throughout the whole of this tournament. Unlucky here not to open his account.
Well, well, well. What can you ask for? But the ball just refused to go into the back of the net, came crashing off the crossbar. And once again, Paul, we see this. The Brazilians, they knock it about, they knock it about. And just when the Australians relax a little bit, boom, up comes somebody with a strike on goal.
The Aussies with Hayden going through. Hayden does brilliantly well, but just couldn't pull it back. He's a real bright spark for this Australian team, isn't he?
Well, Paul, I mean, from what quality we've seen Hayden produce, and he wouldn't look out of place in a yellow shirt. I'm telling you, he
big
is
words, Chevy, very big words.
Oh, indeed, I mean, we've seen the quickness in feet, the quickness in his thought as well. I'm very surprised that he doesn't get too much play time.
Just over 4 minutes to go in this second semi-final here, live and exclusive on Star Sports. KL World 5's Argentina are already through, and it looks like it's going to be Brazil who'll face them.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Hayden there, Paul. Yes, indeed, I've said that, you know, but maybe it is the coach there who doesn't trust Hayden, because Hayden is a skillful one. When you have somebody like that, you know, he is bound to give the ball away. But in a situation like this, you need more players like him who come in there, display confidence, show good skills, and want to go attack. You should encourage such talent, because futsal is all about that kind of player.
Mithieu getting the cross in. Humberto yet again in the thick of the action.
You can teach the skillful ones how to graft ball, but you can't teach the grafters how to become skillful.
I think that you said you didn't say how to skill.
No, I think there's too many grafters in this Australian team. They grafted away against Argentina, but against Brazil now, a change in approach is needed. Unfortunately, they don't have the players.
That then goes down to the fundamentals and the basics of setting up leagues, of creating competition, of having an infrastructure. Brazil have been at this since 1930, when futsal was created or evolved. So the culture is just totally different at the moment. It's going to take time for the Aussies to produce the skillful ones, but what we've seen in this tournament has been far better than a lot of the other teams. There's an option, another opportunity. Fernando it was. 4 goals throughout this tournament. Fernando de Moraes.
Another one we've not seen too much of, but when he comes on, I mean, look at that, looking sharp, looking hungry, and making Rogerio work very, very hard.
But still, no goal against Brazil in this tournament. Hey! What a strike from the youngster. The 18-year-old pulls the trigger, and that's his second goal of this competition. But look at his upper body strength there. But how about this strike? 1 touch, bang, out the feet. 2, bang. Means that's 12 international goals in his career as well, Chef.
Well, it is. I mean, look at that. not only power on that shot, but the swerve as well, Paul. I mean, just swerve away from the goalkeeper before it comes back into goal. Top quality. It has been a treat, an absolute treat. You'll be sitting here watching this Brazilian team play.
Just under 2 minutes to go. 7-0. Argentina are there. Brazil are almost there in what will be a grandstand cup final. That you can be sure of. You can catch that action live on Star Sports at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Make sure you don't miss it, because if you like football, you like goals, and you like pure football, and futsal is your game, and make sure you're with us tomorrow. Rogerio taking a chance, just pushing on a little bit. Here he is again. Again, there's a 4-second rule that if the ball is played back to the goalkeeper, he has 4 seconds to cross over the halfway line with the ball. We'll see the referee putting his arm out. That's just the count. Rogerio with a shot, and half a chance for Australia to strike back. McCall brings that down with his chin, just a little bit too high. Did ever so well to try and get something on that.
Rogerio, they're trying to do what Elias of Argentina has already done, score a goal that is from open play.
The only goalkeeper to score so far in this tournament, Elias. What a goal it was, and it was needed as well, because it was with just 60 seconds left on the clock against Australia late last night that went in. Good save again from Spathis. Umberto, what has he got to do to score? There's the two old boys that are having a little bit of a break.
Absolutely, they put in a very, very good shift, and now they're chatting about other things, I'm sure.
Oh, cheeky from Rogerio. Just tried to chip the keeper.
That would have been the goal of the tournament if that had gone in from Rogerio. I mean, what skills from a goalkeeper.
Time's running down. 3 seconds. The fans don't know that the clock has to stop. There's that little bit of intricate skill again, and it's only a foot too high. But with 3 seconds on the clock, Shebby, your thoughts on the game?
It's been a masterclass from Brazil. We've seen the masters of futsal in action here, and we are a privileged lot. That's all I can say, Paul.
What a game. What an atmosphere. And it's Brazil who set up a plum tie with Argentina tomorrow in the cup competition. The action you can catch live on Star Sports. That's going to be coming at you all tomorrow afternoon and early evening. But as for now, Brazil 7, Australia 0. Match analysis with Shebby and Jen.
welcome back to Star Sports Live and exclusive coverage of the KL World 5's. We know the final score just now was Brazil 7, Australia 0, and this is the lineup for tomorrow. We got 3 finals for you. Starting at 3 p.m. is the bowl final between England and China, and then at 5 p.m. what a fantastic match. That is the plate final between Holland and Iran. Iran's got a lot to make up for losing to Thailand in the group matches. They definitely want to win the plate competition. And Shabby, the cup final repeat of 5 years ago, Argentina versus Brazil.
It is just unbelievable, isn't it, Jen? I mean, how, 5 years ago, Argentina upset Brazil, and 5 years on now, Brazil have a chance to avenge that defeat in Kuala Lumpur, although it's in a different stadium. But at this moment in time, I just fear for the Argentinians. After what the Brazilians put out against Australia, I think, all I can say is there'll be plenty of goals in those games.
And there was plenty of goal in this game, 7-0 to the Brazilians. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights. Like we said earlier, Shabby, it was a masterclass performance from the Brazilians, and from early on, they were just a better side.
Indeed they were. In fact, Gian, I borrowed the word masterclass from you, so I'm not paying you a ringgit for that. Indeed, it was just Brazil all the way through. The Australians, and I was beginning to wonder in the middle of the first half, how much physically did they exert themselves, or rather over-exert themselves in achieving that draw against Argentina. And I think that was the problem. They didn't look sharp enough. There's a very rare chance that they had, but they just simply had no answer. They were second best to everything. And credit to Brazil again, who would have said, look, we have won this game easily, let's take the foot off the pedal. They did not. In true professional style, the Brazilians gave us their best. They really went out there and entertained. And there's no better entertainer than Lenicio. I mean, he scored that goal. Later on, we'll see an even more outrageous one from him.
And at the end of the day, I mean, the Australians had a fantastic tournament, and it was very encouraging when they drew with the Argentinians 3-3. But maybe we expected a bit more, but we forget they are playing against the world #1 futsal side.
Well, indeed, and all I expected from them was to go out there and take the game to Brazil. You're playing against the best team in the world. You know you are not going to win the game, but at least put up a decent showing. But this Australian team was very, very flat. And we saw that with the Brazilians. I mean, this is a cutback for Falcao. It was almost at will that they wanted to score, and they created so many chances. So I think it was a very harsh futsaling lesson for the Australians.
And the Brazilians were just having fun on the pitch with Falcao showboating, and then at the end of it, Falcao and Lenicio could just take a well-deserved break and focus on the final tomorrow.
Indeed, why not? I mean, they are in 30 and 31. Lenicio is 31, Falcao is 30. They've won the game already, so put their feet up, prepare for the Argentinians. And you look at that again, and it was just so effortless, the passing and the movement. And this was the goal of the game for me, because look at that, Falcao's reverse pass without looking. And then Lenicio, this is what top-class players have. They always have so much time. And what does he do? Nutmegs the goalkeeper. Simply outrageous.
And I remember at the end of the match, Brazil was so much in control that, in fact, their goalkeeper Rogero had a chance in the last minute, didn't he?
Well, he had a great chance. He had a chance to score the goal of the tournament. He tried to scoop the ball over Spethes. Well, there were 1 or 2 players in the Australian team who did come out of this game with credit. I thought Peter Spethes, the goalkeeper, was one of them. Hayden didn't get too much playing time, but every time he come on, he showed tremendous skills. But for the others, very disappointing indeed.
So at the end of the day, the result was 7-0 to Brazil. What would the Australians take from this semi-final?
Well, they would like to wake up tomorrow morning and realize that it was all a dream. It was a nightmare that they had. But the truth of the matter is, this is where they should aspire to be. They should wish they were there, and this is where Australia will realize how much effort needs to be put in, and it takes years and years to build teams of the quality of Brazil. But I tell you what, Jen, with hard work, everything is possible.
Absolutely, and based on this is a great future for futsal in Australia. But PJ Roberts is pitchside with the Brazilian coach. It's Paulo Cesar de Oliveira with an interpreter. PJ?
I'm here with PC de Oliveira, the Brazilian coach, and Selena, the translator. Selena, could you please ask PC what he thought of the game?
¿Qué piensas del partido? Bien, partido que se ha tornado fácil en la primera parte porque el equipo de Australia empezó presionante y nuestro equipo juega muy bien cuando el otro equipo le presiona.
It was good. Australia was... Hang on, this is not live, right?
It is, that's okay.
Oh, damn. Otra vez más, por favor.
Es que Brasil juega muy bien contra un equipo que le presiona, que le impone presión. Entonces, en la primera parte, Australia estaba presionando Brasil. Nosotros gostamos mucho de ser presionados.
Basically, Australia left a very strong impression on Brazil in the first half, but it was a good game. Yeah.
And has he seen the development of futsal improve in other countries?
¿Cómo está aprobados otros países futsal?
Existe una evolución muy grande de los países de futsal. Hay 180 países que juegan futsal. Entonces, es muy bueno ver Australia, Tailandia, equipos que enfrentan grandes equipos como Argentina y Brasil de igual. Entonces, es muy bueno. La evolución es una cosa impresionante.
The evolution is really, really grand, really, really great, especially countries like Thailand and Australia. Basically, they play almost as well as Argentina and Brazil, so it's really great to him. Yeah.
What is so special about Brazilian futsal that makes you so good?
Es que el futsal hace parte de la formación del jugador de fútbol en Brasil. Entonces, todo jugador de fútbol empieza jugando futsal. Entonces, los jugadores que no quieren jugar fútbol, juegan futsal. Es una diversión muy grande. Tenemos en nuestro país 10 millones de practicantes de futsal. 300,000 inscritos en la Confederación de Futsal.
Okay. Basically, because in Brazil, everybody starts off with futsal. Some of them go on to football, but whatever it is, everybody plays futsal. And ¿cuántos?
300,000, 300,000,
300,000
inscritos en la Confederación.
300,000 writers in the Confederation of Brazil. Yeah.
Looking ahead to the final tomorrow against Argentina, what sort of game do you expect?
Es un clásico de Sudamérica. Hemos perdido las dos últimas finales para Argentina. Intentaremos ganar esta.
Basically, it's a classic South American final. ¿Y?
Hemos perdido los dos últimos finales con Argentina, incluso este torneo en 2003. Intentaremos ganar a Argentina.
They've met Argentina in like three finals. They always meet Argentina in finals, basically. And then since they won in the first tournament 5 years ago, they want to win this time. Yeah.
And we want to thank you very much for bringing the beauty of Brazilian futsal to Asia.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias para traer futsal de Brasil a Asia.
É isso que queremos, mostrar o futsal de Brasil em Ásia, pero como formador de jugador de fútbol. Pode dizer?
No puedo decir.
Sí, formar o jogador de fútbol através do futsal.
Hopefully that it will basically build football as well as futsal in Asia.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you to the coach Paulo Cesar and our interpreter Selena. They're doing us a favor, trying very hard, but perhaps maybe a little stage fright. But at the end of the day, the Brazilians were just too good. But they had a lot of good things to say about Asian futsal, especially Thailand.
Well, yes, indeed. Thailand have shown in this tournament that they are catching up very, very fast. I mean, now they can consider themselves a truly international futsaling team. If they were one of the best in Southeast Asia, maybe they were getting there in Asia, but this tournament, they have arrived. And that is really very nice of De Oliveira to acknowledge that.
And also the Australians have done very well this tournament. And this time PJ is with Scott Gilligan, the Australian head coach. And believe it or not, no interpreter was needed.
All right, here is Scott Gilligan, the Australian coach. Scott, almost.
So near, but yet so far, huh? Not almost. Yesterday was almost.
They just, I mean, Brazilian futsal, they are truly a different class. What do you take out of that game?
Well, I think the main thing for us, I mean, if you look at the first 5 minutes of the second half, we played with more of our heart, not our head, and we copped 3 goals, bang, bang, bang. But for the rest of the half, we started to play with our head a bit more, and I think that's the key. I mean, yesterday when we played Argentina, we played completely with our head, you know, with the heart as well. But you understand what I mean. Today we lost focus. The first 5 minutes of the first half, exactly the same thing. We had a game plan, but we didn't adhere to it. You know, so we copped the goal straight in the first 5 minutes, and that's what we didn't want to do.
What do you think the key reasons for that were, though?
Oh, the key reasons is we don't play this level all the time. I mean, that's the big problem. In Australia, we play 20 minutes run of the clock, so we're conditioned for 20 minutes. Here, you play 20 minutes top blocks, 35-minute halves. You know, we're not conditioned to do that. We don't have a professional league. You know, we're all amateurs. In fact, we pay to play the game back in Australia, as you would know. We don't have a professional league. It's a big step for us. But in saying that, I like 7-0. Okay, I think really, as I said, those 3 goals in the second half, probably the first goal in the first half. I think we can work on that and we can bring it down again. Like the last time we played them, we got beat 10-0. So we're getting better. I have to say that.
And that's the key, isn't it? I mean, you must be proud of their performance. You are playing against professional players, Argentina and Brazil. You've matched it with Argentina. Taught a little bit of a lesson from Brazil, but you take something out of it. But what's next for Australian futsal?
Well, obviously, you know, I mean, hopefully we can get a National League going, but it's a far way down the track. The FFA obviously want to get that happening, but they're concentrating on the Football A-League and you know, tiers down from that. We're probably the 4th rung on the ladder, if you know what I mean. But for us, you know, we've been invited to a tournament in Brazil that we'll discuss. Obviously, funding comes into it with the FFA. We do have the ASEAN Championships in March, which we'll go to. We made the final last time we went, and I think we can match it with Thailand. I think, you know, we're better than we were last year. And then after that, we have the Asian Championships, where again, I think we'll show a better account of ourselves. And we know we have to finish top 4 to qualify for the World Cup. But on our showing here, I think we've got a good chance. Yeah.
And in relation to Football Federation Australia, do they see futsal as competition, or they do see it as essential to the development of not only futsal players but also outdoor football players?
Well, I think it's a funny situation there. The state bodies don't really want futsal, and they don't see it as anything but competition. Players sign a contract and then they said you can't play futsal, even kids, you know, from 13 years up. But the FFA, no, they've had reconnaissance missions, if I can say, for want of a better word, sent across to different countries and found out that futsal is their development pathway for some of these countries. Like France, for instance, 6 to 12-year-olds play all futsal, nothing else. Brazil, you know, it's in the school system. There's 38 million playing futsal. They know that is the way we have to go. But it's a long process, and it's going to take a lot of changing of the mindset of the football coaches back home to realise that football can only get better in Australia if we have a development program that includes futsal. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, Scotty, congratulations, mate. All Australia will be very proud. Get to the semi-finals, and all the boys get to play Brazil. So go and have a good earned rest, and we'll probably see you later on for a quiet beer.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that. I mean, back in Australia, everyone said, well, we'll win the first 3 games, then we'll lose the next 2. So it's expected we would make the semi and lose. So you say that everyone will say it's a great thing we did, but to be honest, you know, you're an Australian. The Australianism is you knock the tall poppy, correct?
Very true.
So although we know we did well, we always have our detractors, but as a unit, we're just going to grow and get stronger. And that's all that matters to us, you know, because we know we're getting better at futsal, and we know we have the players in the country. We just need the development structure.
Excellent. Brilliant, Scotty. Congratulations, mate. Love your work.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I wish we could have done a bit better tonight.
That's fine, mate. Cheers, Scott.
Australian coach there, Scott Gilligan, talking very passionately about futsal in Australia. But at the end of the day, Shabby, they have everything to be proud of Australia.
They have done well in this competition. This tournament, you know, should be seen as a kind of a way forward now when they go into the Asian Championships, and from then on move on to the World Championships. And this is a great tournament. I mean, it is a tournament where you can test yourself against the best in the world. You can look at your players and how they react under the environment, the circumstances living away from home, living together as a group. So there are many benefits, and once you go into tournaments proper, like the Asian Championships, you have prepared well, rather than that being a case of where it is a fact-finding mission. This is the fact-finding mission, and the Australians can go home very proudly.
And one of the players that's shown for Australia in this tournament is the captain Lachlan Wright, and he's with PJ Roberts.
It's here with Lachlan Wright, the Australian captain. Lachlan, what was it like, mate? Chasing shadows at times?
At times, yeah, but you expect that coming into a game against Brazil. I mean, putting it in perspective, we're all part-time players playing against full professionals that train once or twice a day. I mean, we all go home to Australia and go back to our jobs, mate, and we do this for fun. We even pay to play, so coming over here is definitely an experience that we'll never forget about.
What's one of the key things that you take out of playing against Argentina and playing against Brazil, two of the top teams in the world of futsal, and you really matched it with Argentina?
I think what we take out of it is confidence for our next tournament, that we can actually match it with teams that really are able to move the ball around, have some good structure and some good movement. So if we take that confidence away, work on it, the next tournament we come out brimming with confidence, and we really think that the next year or so we can really push forward and do a lot better.
That's brilliant. And you've seen some of the other countries here. What's some of the other countries that have quite impressed you, particularly with how they've developed over the years?
Thailand, number one. I think we played them a good 3 or 4 years ago, and since then they've been on the road non-stop. And I mean, the amount of improvement they've had is unbelievable. They're just very sharp. They can hold the ball under pressure, and it's just good to see with a bit of training and a lot of games how much it can improve.
It's out of all the different players that you have seen, I mean, there's different styles, there's different contrasts. Who's a couple of the players that have really impressed you?
Number one, I'd have to say, is Lenicio. He's just unbelievable, the touch that he's got. His left foot, that goal that he scored last night was just sublime. I'd have to say Baruto, the speed off the mark is just unbelievable. When you steal the ball off him, you think you're away, and all of a sudden he's stole it back off you and he's going back one-on-one with your keeper. So they'd be the two that impress me the most.
Brilliant. Lachlan, well done, mate. I really enjoyed watching you guys. Have a good rest, and we'll catch up with you later on.
Thanks very much, PJ.
Well, they had to go back to their jobs at the end of the day, but it was a great tournament for Australia. We know that they lost to Brazil, and Brazil's opponents in the final is Argentina, and let's take a look at that semi-final, them beating Thailand 5-3. And it was a fantastic match, wasn't it, Shabu?
It was. I mean, it was two very competitive teams, two teams who played at a very high tempo, and when the goals came, they were of quality. If you have Christian Baruto in your team, you know what to expect. I mean, he's only 3 years into his futsaling career. He's only playing in his first ever international tournament for Argentina. But if he displays that kind of quality, he's going to go on to become one of the best players in the world. But credit to Thailand, who put up a very good performance. They were depleted due to suspensions and the first choice goalkeeper having a broken wrist. But they came out there, they took the game to Argentina, and it was a credit to them that they were not in any way overawed by the fact that they were playing one of the best futsaling nations in the world. The goals looked very easy in there, but they did involve some very slick passing, slick moves as well. And Godoy finally, after he shaved his head, has begun to find the back of the net.
So new haircut and then goals coming.
Indeed, I mean, he had a really dodgy haircut coming into this tournament, but what a difference that shaven head makes. But I mean, jokes aside, it was Argentina who were in control, but the Thais did run them a fight. I mean, give them a very good fight in every sense of the word.
And we did talk about Thais earlier. We know that there was basically cited by injuries and suspension. They didn't have their full side, so they couldn't quite test Argentina. They don't know how they would actually fare with their full side.
Not at all, and the sending off of their captain did not help either. So they were missing 4 of their best players, and only having 3 players on the bench, trying to rotate them. But I tell you what, this man, Anucha Munjaran, he come out of this competition with a lot of credit. He's past his best now. He's carrying on a few extra pounds. But I tell you what, to score goals like that takes a lot of skill, and he did that. And we will see Manjaran score again from distance. And I tell you what, 5 years on, this player might be older and a bit rounder, hasn't lost any of his skills.
But give credit to the Thais, they never backed down from the challenge and they actually put up a very good fight.
They did. I mean, they've got some fantastic players as well. The twins, especially Ekapong and Ekapan, they are going to carry this Thai challenge for many years to come. So look out, all the teams in the Asian Futsal Championship, Thailand is the team that you want to worry about.
So at the end, it was a great result for Argentina. Perhaps it was a wake-up call after drawing Australia 3-3. Is that not to take any team for granted?
No, not at all. What happened, is that once they played against Australia, once the Argentinians realized, that hang on a minute, this tournament is not going to be a walkover, and I think the Thais felt the backlash. And Thailand themselves, did create the biggest upset of the tournament when they ousted Iran from the Cup semi-finals.
Yep.
So, I mean, credit to both teams. Came out there and made it a very, very tight but exciting and interesting semi-final.
It's going to be a fantastic cup final of Brazil and Argentina. But earlier there was a plate semi-final as well as between host nation Malaysia and Holland. And here are some of the highlights. And unfortunately, Malaysia again injury, suspension, and Eddie Azman, the captain, didn't play very long in this match.
No, he did not. He's a key player. They were also missing a key defender, Jamhuri. But that's no excuse. The Dutch did just enough without overextending themselves, with an eye on the final, and they were not to know it then. A rematch against Iran, who beat them 3-1 in a group match. So playing well within themselves, and yet they ran out comfortable winners over Malaysia, who I thought perhaps they just had one game too many. I don't think physically they were up to it. Technically they looked inferior to the Dutch as well.
At the end of the day, we know that the Dutch so far in this tournament have been very solid, compact, professional. Maybe just lacking a bit of flair, Shabby.
Yeah, flair definitely is one word that they didn't have in their repertoire. Finishing, I mean, we've seen Ajari here with 2 goals, but I can tell you he just missed some easy chances. So the Dutch lacking that one creative player who can make a difference. And in the D, they're not the most confident, as you can see there from strikes like that. So all in all, I would say it is a rematch in the plate final between Holland and Iran. But having seen the two teams, you just give Iran the edge. Although the Dutch could spoil it, I think there could be an upset on the cards.
And Shabby, what about host nation Malaysia? I mean, there's not a futsal league in this country yet. What are they going to take from this experience?
Well, really, I think, the only problem I would say, I would like to look at the positives, but unfortunately there are not too many. I think there are 5 or 6 players at least who have possibly played their last futsal tournament for Malaysia. They look very long in the tooth. Physically they're not up to it anymore. And I think Balakrishnan has got a massive rebuilding job to do. And I mean, if you look at the positive is that we all know the way forward is to rebuild the national team.
So we're going to lose a lot of key players like Eddie Azwan as well, but at least based on that, a lot of fans came out to watch. That means that a lot of people are interested in futsal in this country.
Well, this game is really taking off now in Malaysia. There's so many indoor futsal centers, and where every day there's so many people playing, so that there's a large population now playing the game. And I think in the long term that can only be beneficial, because if you have a wide base of players playing that, and then you can build higher. So there is quality out there in the futsal centers. But what we need now is a league over a sustained period. Let it be a semi-professional league or an amateur league, but we need a league. And then from there we can pick the best players.
And hopefully soon we'll get it. Well, let's take a look at Holland's final opposition in the plate competition. And it was Iran, and what a fantastic semi-final against Indonesia. They were hurt with a loss to Thailand, and they came out, like you said, like a wounded animal. They had everything to prove.
Well, they did. It was a shock to their system, a shock to their nation, that they could lose to a team like Thailand and have to play in the semi-finals of the plate, really. But they came out, they were very single-minded, they were on a mission, and it is good to see that apart from Wahid Shamsai, they have got other players who can get among the goals as well. They scored some fantastic goals, some simple goals as well, but they showed that they can finish, and I think this is what they will need against Holland. they will have the edge in terms of their cutting edge.
And in this match, we always knew that Indonesia was up against us. It was basically men versus boys.
It is. I mean, you know, Iran, we talk about Iran, they are the best team in Asia. They have been now the 8-time champions of Asia. Up against Indonesia, who are beginning to find their feet, came into this competition and did well in spells, but not long enough in matches to suggest, you know, that they can mount a serious challenge. But Justinus Laksana has done a great job with the Indonesians, and I wish them well because they always give Malaysia a very tight game.
And there's so much to look forward to tomorrow. The KL World 5's is all about the finals. Live coverage starts at 3 p.m. The bowl final between England and China, and then the plate final, Holland versus Iran. They want it very, very badly. And what about the cup final live at 7 p.m.? It's all South American time, the repeat of 5 years ago, Argentina versus Brazil. So much to look forward to tomorrow, Shabby.
Really can't wait. I tell you what, even the bowl final, yes, they might be wooden spoonies, England and China, but I have seen enough from the Chinese team to suggest that England will not have it easy. I mean, I do expect, I did say in the middle of the competition that all the 3 winners of the bowl plate and the cup will come from Group B. So I am taking China to win the bowl, and I do expect Iran to be better than Holland and win the plate, and Brazil to win the cup.
Right, Shabby, thank you very much for your views and thoughts. Once again, it's the end of KL World 5's for day 5 over here. For myself and the rest of the team, it's goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow.